I still remember when I hit rock bottom with my business. $730 in my bank account, payroll due in 10 days. My team depended on me, but I was frozen. I knew exactly what I had to do, but I couldn't do it. And that's when I realized something brutal. My business was not the problem, my mind was. If you're an ambitious entrepreneur, I know you felt this too. You wake up with good intentions, ready to crush the day. By 10 a.m., you've doom scrolled for 2 hours. By noon, you've wasted the morning. By 3 p.m., you're exhausted. By 7 p.m., you're clocked out. By 10 p.m., you're in bed whispering, I wasted today again. You hate yourself for it. Your business is bleeding money because of it. But here's the truth. It's really not your fault. Your mind is running an outdated survival software designed to keep you safe, content, and alive. But in business, safe is stuck. Safe is death. And today I'll show you what I've learned from working one-on-one more than 300 entrepreneurs to rewire their minds to get out of that rut and execute at peak performance and help them scale to 6, 7, and 8 figure fast without any procrastination and burnout. And this is just not theory. The same neurological principles elite performers from all walks of life, from billion-dollar founders, Navy SEAL, astronauts from NASA, use to execute at the highest level. If you stay with me until the end of this video, I can promise that I'll show you the whole blueprint for you to become a relentless operator. Now, pause for a second, hit subscribe. This new channel is all about turning you into an execution machine. The problem, as I said, that your brain is working against you. You're talented, hardworking, motivated. You know what to do, but you can't get yourself to do it. That procrastination, overwhelm, burnout are symptoms of a deeper problem. The thing that you haven't yet upgraded your mind for relentless execution. That willingness to stay safe is the death sentence in business. Every time you avoid the action you need to do is a sign that you have a corrupted software in your mind. It's not about discipline. It's not about hard work or hustle. It's about mental upgrade. Until you rewire your mind to execute consistently, you're going to be pushing a boulder uphill. Every single one of the founders that I've worked with, they're smart and talented, exceptional at marketing, sales, operations, but at some point they all hit a mental ceiling. The mind was working against them. And I would bet money that right now your mind is actively working against you because you are not hitting your goals. And the worst thing is that your mind is exactly doing what it was designed to do. See, evolution shaped your mind to make you content and alive, but that is keeping you stuck. And this is costing you real money. Every moment of hesitation is lost money. Every procrastination has a price tag and is more significant than you think. I've had founders who had $30,000 slip through their fingers because they couldn't send an email on time, or they didn't launch an ad campaign, or they didn't follow up with their leads. Real opportunities are dying in your inbox right now. Every scroll, every delay, every I'll do it tomorrow is bleeding your business dry. And here's a real kicker. You already know precisely what you gotta do. But why can't you do it? Why can't you get yourself to actually do it? Well, the problem might be that you're trying to fix a mental rewiring problem with more effort, which never works. Every single founder I've worked with, they knew exactly what was needed. But day after day, week after week, the critical work remained undone. And they were not lazy. They were just like I was at the beginning of my career, working 12 hours every day. But hard work alone is not enough to break through the fear, distractions, and doubt hiding behind what I call the execution gap. Because if you're like me, you've been told that success is all about discipline and willpower. But elite performers know better. It's about consistently doing the right things, even when under extreme pressure, every single day. In other words, it's all about peak performance. Look at any field of peak performance, military, sports, business. The numbers tell the stark truth about human potential. Millions of soldiers serve, but just a few thousand become elite forces. Millions of entrepreneurs hustle, but only a handful reach the billion-dollar mark. It's never talent that separates them. It's not connections or luck. The fundamental difference is their ability to execute under pressure. And that ability comes from one place and one place only, their mental programming. And here's the brutal truth about why you feel stuck in business. Your business is not hitting a revenue wall. It's hitting your mental ceiling. Your mind is programmed to default to easy work. Every time you choose the easy path, you're reinforcing that programming. This isn't just about productivity, it's about an entire operating system upgrade. So how do elite performers do it? How do they motivate themselves? They don't. They rewire their minds. The good news is you can do this too. Anyone can do this. The bad news is that you've been using probably the wrong solution. Personal development doesn't work for most people. It's like feel-good stuff that is unscientific. And productivity hacks are designed to keep you hooked, not performing at a higher level. Look at elite performers. Navy SEALs don't use to-do lists when under fire. Olympic athletes don't rely on morning routines to break world records. Astronauts don't use affirmations to train for space. You can be successful without a morning routine. But they all have something in common. They have rewired their mind to associate effort with profit. They have trained themselves to consistently lean into the things they need to do. And that is because your brain has an extraordinary superpower called neuroplasticity, which is the ability to rewire itself through targeted training. This is how elite performers, elite founders don't try to force new habit. They systematically rebuild their neural pathways to operate at peak performance. And the science is clear, and we've been doing this for 7 years now. In 12 weeks, you can fundamentally overhaul your brain if you do the right thing. And if this is hitting home, realize that you have been looking at wrong places for all of this time. So pause, hit subscribe, and wait for all the videos we're going to be sending your way to transform you into a relentless operation. So the core idea is that you have to stop treating the symptoms of this lack of execution with productivity or personal development. You need to be looking at the actual root cause, because burnout is not about working too hard and procrastination is not about laziness. Both things are a function of outdated mental programming. But here's the hard truth though. If you don't rewire it, nothing else will ever change. And if you don't do something about how your mind is wired, in 5 years from now, you're going to still be stuck trying to grow past this current plateau, still telling yourself that tomorrow is different. Your days will still be filled with scattered focus, endless scrolling, and push deadlines. Your nights lying in bed at 11 p.m. hating yourself once again for another wasted day. And that has nothing to do about you being weak. It's because you are fighting a rigged game. Your brain default settings will always overpower your willpower. But it doesn't have to be the way I promised, like we've proven it at many years. Let me show you what is different. So what we typically do is, when we're working with our founders, we look at specific things that are keeping them stuck, at the specific triggers that are blocking their execution. Because as I said before, their business will never outgrow their minds. It is the mind that needs to be updated. So this transformation is not random. It has to start at the level of the problem. At the level of a specific task, they're not able to actually execute it. And this is done through very careful monitoring of their own behavioral patterns. This is the most important element. This is why personal development and productivity does not work. It's because it doesn't target your specific situation at this specific in mind. We need to understand what is holding you back. Once we're very clear on the things that are actually hurting them, that's when we start becoming ready to actually transform everything. Before I share how I would do it, let me first show you how I discovered this. It all started and nearly ended when I found myself with $730 in the bank account. Payroll due in 10 days. I had done everything right, working 14 hours a day, 7 days a week for 1 year straight. My business started very well, 6 figures in 6 months, but then everything came crashing down because the market shifted, algorithm changed, lead flow dried up, and I went to see a mentor of mine. He told me, dude, your business is not failing, your mind is. And that truth hit me hard because those 12 hours every day weren't getting me nowhere. For every hour of actual work, I was wasting 4 on unimportant tasks, fear, doubts, and distractions. I knew I was the problem, and I had to rewire my mind to look for the things that I knew I needed to do in order to pay my team and keep my business doors open. And that's when all this peak performance journey started. I approached, psychologists, psychiatrists. I even went to spiritual leaders. I obsess with performance to actually getting the things done. The first breakthrough came very quickly. Within 10 days, I had a miracle sale that saved the month. But that was just the beginning of the transformation, because as I obsessed with my transformation, I started trimming down my to-do list, focusing on what really mattered, and consistently doing the things that I was afraid of doing. in order to become that Navy SEAL in business that I wanted to become. Guess what? Within 12 months, my business grew by 6x. My work hours dropped from like 70 or 80 to like 30 to 40. And the secret was not working harder, was rewiring my mind to doing the things I knew I needed to do. I had finally upgraded my mental software. And this story proves the point that all elite founders know. Execution is the most important skill you ever attain in business. It's not how brilliant your ideas is, it's how good you are at executing that. But most founders believe execution is a gift, and that is the biggest lie that is holding you back. Execution is not about talent or natural ability. It's about identifying and removing the mental blocks that are holding you back. Because anyone can learn to execute at a high level. The secret is knowing what's blocking your performance. Because you have to understand that your brain is just running programs other people have installed. Your parents program you, your schools program you, every course you buy programs you, every limitation you feel is just faulty software running in your mind that you have accepted as truth. Elite founders don't wait to feel ready, they just rewire themselves to win. Michael Jordan, for instance, spent as much time in the mind gym as in the real one. Brad Jacobs, who built $5 billion companies, says rearranging his brain is the most important thing he does every day. You must completely rebuild your identity. Before you do that, you must realize what is the number one problem blocking your execution and your identity renewal. For most people, rewiring their brain is impossible because it is actually fried. Why can't you stop checking your email or scrolling through social media? Because your brain's being hijacked its own chemical reward system. Every notification, every quick task, every small win floods your brain with dopamine. It's the same chemical that makes sugar, gambling, and social media addictive. Your brain does not care if the task is valuable, it just wants the quick hit. That's why answering emails feels better than working on your $100K project. You're not lazy or undisciplined, you're chemically addicted to low-value work, and your brain reward system is sabotaging your success, one dopamine hit at a time. In 2025, everyone knows this. But why don't most entrepreneurs fix this at the root? Because most entrepreneurs do not care enough about their work to override this addiction. And here's a fundamental thing you must embrace. The fact that all elite performers are always possessed by a vision. They are obsessed with a change they want to create. Instead of pushing themselves to work, they pulled forward by an invisible force. Most entrepreneurs don't have that. They're trapped in the mundane, checking emails and making calls. But elite founders are intoxicated by a compelling future that haunts their every moment. Imagine that you can create a vision so big that it becomes an obsession that pulls you forward every single day. When correctly wired, your purpose becomes a force so powerful that every resistance, every distraction just becomes a futile waste of your time. There's a deeper issue though. Something that doesn't get discussed enough, something that nobody really talks about, but is absolutely fundamental for you to understand. You are a slave to your own mind. See, your mind produces 60,000 thoughts per day. 95% of them are actively sabotaging your success. When a negative thought hits, you become negative. When doubt creeps in, you become doubtful. When fear strikes, you become fearful. You're not running your mind is running you. And that mental slavery is costing you everything. Because every single moment of doubt kills an opportunity. And after enough opportunities have been killed, you stop producing those opportunities. This is why elite performers in any discipline have mastered something called witness consciousness. They do not identify with thoughts, they observe, select, and use them. First, they learn to mentally detach, and then they master the art of breaking free from their mind's tyranny. This is why I say that positive thinking is useless. True mental mastery is not about forcing good thoughts, but transcending thoughts itself. Most entrepreneurs fight negative thoughts with positive ones, but that very seldom works. It's like trying to calm a storm by throwing more wind at it. Elite performers know differently. Mental power isn't about what you think. It's about your ability to detach from the thoughts that don't serve your mission, by being more efficient about what thoughts you pay attention to. And the goal is not happiness or positivity, it's calmness. It's that unshakable state where you're too centered to be disturbed by mental noise. This state of calm isn't just about mental control. It's about something much deeper. It's about complete inner alignment. Ever wonder why some entrepreneurs seem to achieve effortlessly? While you push and grind and hustle, they appear to be pulled by an invisible force. Most people are at war with themselves. Their mind wants success, their heart craves security, their logic says push forward, their gut screams stay safe. True power, elite performance, the success elixir always comes when you align three internal forces that nobody talks about. The mind, the logical understanding of what's possible, your heart, the emotional hunger for achievement, and the soul, the profound knowing of what you're meant to do. In other words, the logical mind, the emotional mind, and your intuition. When these three things align, something magical happens. Resistance vanishes, time accelerates, universe conspires to help you win because nothing gets in the way. But this alignment does not happen by accident. It requires a specific practice that most founders completely misunderstand. And that practice is meditation. There's a reason why every elite performer meditates. It's not for peace, calm, and spiritual enlightenment. They use meditation as a precision alignment tool, a daily practice to force their mind, heart, and soul into perfect harmony. Without deep meditation, you're operating in the dark, constantly at the mercy of your mind. Your mind drowns out your intuition with endless chatter you pay attention to. Your heart is hijacked by fear and doubt. Your soul's wisdom never breaks through the noise. And this is not about sitting cross-legged chanting It's about creating this internal silence needed for elite performance. Meditation is the gateway to something more powerful, which is the ultimate performance system, which is what happens when you align mind, soul, and gut. It's not discipline, it's not habits, it's flow. Flow not in a psychological sense, as in a flow state, but flow as in being one with reality. When in flow, resistance evaporates like morning mist. Action becomes as natural as breathing. You don't doubt yourself, you don't procrastinate, and results flow with supernatural ease. This is not woo-woo. This is literally something every elite performer have experienced. When you align yourself with the task, your brain rewires itself with enhanced neuroplasticity to get you better at that. And you start executing at peak performance. But to access that flow level, you must reprogram the program running you. See, your identity is the summation of thoughts, emotions, and behaviors. And right now, that sum is keeping you stuck. Most entrepreneurs try to change their actions without changing their identity. And that's why they keep failing in the old patterns. Their core programming remains unchanged. Elite performers know you must install a new operating system. Every thought must reflect that identity. Every emotion must align with that flow. But your subconscious mind sees this upgrade as a threat, and it's programmed to fight back. That is why change feels so hard for most people. Because there's a war happening in their minds right now, and most likely also in yours. Your conscious desires are fighting your subconscious programming. Your conscious mind wants growth, success, and transformation. You're committed to becoming a better version of yourself, to get out of the rut, to execute at a high level. But that subconscious treats every identity upgrade as a survival threat. And that internal conflict is why identity changes typically fail. Elite founders do this differently. They master the dance between these two opposite forces. They know how to upgrade their identity without triggering the survival mechanism. To win this internal battle, you need something counterintuitive. You must believe in the new identity before you see any evidence. And this is a very important concept. Most people will say, show me the evidence and then I'll believe that that's possible. And that's why most people are stuck. Elite performers create a belief so strong in their minds that creates the necessary behavior to eventually give birth to the evidence. You can't see yourself at $100K a month because you've never done it. You don't believe you can achieve it because you've never done it before. And this is a loop that keeps you stuck forever unless you break it. The key is to install that new identity, those new thoughts, and an unbreakable belief system that helps you operate as if you had already cleared $100K a month. And there's a psychological hack that you can use to rewrite it. And it's not about forcing yourself, pushing yourself. No, it's about understanding how to bypass the resistance, not overcome it. And you do this in basically two ways. First is that you reduce the commitment. You start so small, your brain doesn't notice. You stack tiny wins until momentum builds. You let every micro success rewire your neural pathways. This is very important. You want to write for hours, start with 1 minute. You want to build an empire, start with a tiny inevitable win. Your brain will automatically crave more once it tastes success, once you train your dopamine system to give you dopamine for these small wins. But there's an even faster way to unlock your brain's resistance, and this is number 2, which is visualization. See, every elite athlete has a secret weapon against fear, every single one of them. And it's not motivation, talent, discipline, working hard, hustling. No, it's visualizing. Your brain treats every new challenge as a survival threat, as I was saying before. That's why you freeze before important calls, meetings, or decisions. But elite performers, elite founders hack this fear response with visualization. You picture the perfect outcome of what you're about to do in HD details, and then you rehearse every step in your mind. This is not about only sports, this is mental rewiring. When you pre-visualize your success, your brain cannot differentiate between it and reality. And this leads to flawless execution. This is what eliminates mental cloudiness. This is what removes the resistance. You must architect a clear mind, clear decisions, clear execution, clear results and profit. This mental clarity is not a luxury, it is your most valuable asset. The sharper your mind, the sharper your bottom line. But here's the uncomfortable truth about having a clear mind operating at your peak. You will never feel ready to make the hard calls. I'll do it when I'm ready is the most expensive lie in business, because tomorrow is not guaranteed and the time is burning. Elite founders do not wait for perfect conditions. They attack each day with ferocious urgency, knowing every minute counts. It's not about rushing, it's about intensity. Work fast when you work, rest deep when you rest, attack life like it ends tomorrow. Stop waiting to feel ready, you will never will. Stop moving with the urgency of someone whose time is precious. And this will help you rewire your mind for being even more effective. And a great hack for this is to work in oscillation. See, work in focused sprints, not marathon session. Instead of 12-hour days, have 4 blocks of 2 hours. Pause between intensity and recovery, so you can stack up multiple peak states throughout your day. And this brings me to one of the most crucial performance protocols, the 90-minute focus block. I call this the ring fencing protocol. I have lost count how many of my competitors have actually copied this, but in essence, it's based on the science of chronobiology. See, your brain has a natural rhythm that is begging you to respect. Every 90 minutes, it needs a complete rest. Elite performers treat their minds like professional athletes. Athletes do not train for 8 hours straight. They work in intense blocks with strategic recovery, each block typically lasting between 90 minutes and 120 minutes. And every rest period that comes after that block multiplies the next performance. This is the foundation of my ring fencing system. 90 minutes of focus execution and then 15 to 30 minutes of total complete disconnection without the phone. If you repeat this many times during the day, you will unlock supernatural productivity. And this is not about working less, but about respecting your brain's biology. When you align with your natural rhythms, performance becomes effortless. Now that you understand why you constantly crash after 2 p.m., let me show you how you can maintain peak mental energy all the time. If your mind turns to mush after 2 to 3 p.m., as most of my clients before we start working together, that's not a lack of coffee problem. It's a predictable system failure. Most entrepreneurs hit a wall because they do not know how to take care of their brain. Decisions become impossible, focus evaporates, overthinking takes over, and this isn't random because you're ignoring your brain's natural rhythms. You're pushing through without proper recovery. As I was saying, you're treating your mind like an infinite resource, and that is no bueno. You must change your work rhythm and change your entire day's structure, which reveals a bigger truth about entrepreneurial burnout. I've been burned out many times in my life working too hard until I learned what I'm about to share with you. Burnout is not about working too much. It's about working chaotically, ignoring your brain's operating manual. Burnout is when your mind has given up on the meaning behind the task. In other words, is your mind once again playing games with you? That is burnout. And how do you solve that? By going back to a drawing board, eliminating all the unnecessary stuff that you're doing and recommitting to that vision that we alluded in the beginning of the video. That vision that is pulling you forward, that is making you an elite founder in the making. That is very important. Now, in my experience, one of the biggest mistakes that elite founders do when trying to really consistently go after that vision is to not architect an environment that is at the level of their newfound goals. In other words, they have an environment that is consistently pushing them down. They rely on willpower to get things done when the environment around them is sabotaging them. Elite performers of any kind, they always engineer their environment to make execution inevitable. Your space should force peak performance. You have to remove every distraction before it tempts you. Design your workspace for single task focus. Make high performance the path of least resistance. When your environment is optimized, execution becomes automatic. The proper setup makes it harder to fail than to succeed. But your physical environment is just the beginning. You must optimize your mental environment. And I say this because your brain makes 30,000 decisions every day, and each one drains your mental battery unless you hack the system. Most entrepreneurs waste mental energy on trivial choices. Elite performers automate everything except what truly matters. Mental optimization is about ruthlessly eliminating everything that shouldn't be there, closing every loop in the mind, making decisions once, saving your best energy for million-dollar choices. Because mental fatigue does not come from big decisions. It's come from tiny thousand ones you shouldn't be making. Once you are clear on how to perform at a higher level mentally, you must understand the act of strategic batching. Random work produces random results. Strategic batching produces exponential output. Most entrepreneurs jump between tasks chaotically. Elite performers stack similar activities for compound impact, which is, if you pair that with my ring fencing protocol, you're maximizing your brain's natural rhythm. You batch similar tasks into focused blocks. You eliminate context switching waste. You create momentum through task stacking. But none of this matters if you are scattered on the macro. See, there's one more problem that I see with founders, that they don't have clear 12-week plans for explosive growth. See, most of them are working on 12-month business plans, but those are fantasy. They're too far away. The ideal scenario is a 12-week execution plan. That is rocket fuel for growth. Long-term plans create the illusion of progress. Elite performers focus on explosive 2-week sprints that force real momentum. A proper 12-week plan has 3 elements: clear, measurable outcome that excites you, weekly milestones that keep you honest, and daily actions that compound into breakthrough. Stop planning years ahead in your mind. Start executing weeks ahead in reality. But even the perfect plan fails without one crucial element: a bulletproof system for execution. And this is what's going to eliminate overwhelm. Because overwhelm is not about having too much to do, it's about not having a system to do it all. See, most entrepreneurs run their business on chaos and hope. Elite performers build systems to make success inevitable. Systematic execution, as I call it, gives you 2 superpowers: predictable results without mental drain, and objective data to optimize your performance. This is very important because systems are not sexy, but winning is. And you win by consistently getting better every single day. That's how you turn entrepreneurial chaos into scientific progress. Which brings me to the most crucial element of it all, the thing that I believe to be the only hack in the world: the feedback loop. The feedback loop is what forces growth. That is the real secret to success. It's not a strategy, tactics, not even system. It's getting objective feedback about their execution. That is something all elite performers have in common. They all look at the replay. They all try to get better by actually analyzing their performance. Without precise feedback, you can't identify what's holding you back, you can't optimize what matters most, and you can't accelerate your progress. Your growth is only as good as your feedback loop. Measure and improve your execution, which is your daily obsession. Now that you understand what separates average from elite, now you know what is the path that lays before you that you can choose to take. Are you going to stay stuck, or are you going to choose mental rewiring? You can keep the same running survival software and, kick your head against reality as many times as you need before you learn that you have to update yourself at the root. And that mental upgrade is available to anyone who is sincerely interested in winning at life. The choice you make really will give you your chances of success. It's not about being more successful. It's about becoming someone who can make anything happen, who can make any dream actually work, who can endure the pain and still smile through it, who can see opportunity and actually chase it while others see failure. That is an elite performer. That is an elite founder. And I will encourage you that if you really want to become everything you could be, stop falling for the productivity scam, stop falling for personal development that is typically unscientific and very surface level, and actually commit to peak performance. And specifically at rewiring your mind to consistently improve the programs that you're running on every single day. That is the solution of being stuck in business and in life. It's literally rewiring your mind to do the things you know you need to do without falling for resistance. And this channel is all about teaching you what I've learned in the past 7 years helping ambitious founders just like you. So if you resonate with this, click subscribe and see you in the next video.